Hey guys, Bo with the Bible here. Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be finishing up the book of Jonah, as you can see. I know this is taking a while to get out. I've just, been working on a book, like I said in my last video, and stuff's been happening. So I apologize that this series took a long time to get over. But I hope to be bringing more Bible studies in the next couple weeks and some other content. I just mainly been focusing on my book, and it's kind of hard for me to just spend enough time editing and spend enough time working on a book every day. So, but anyway, I guess we'll just go ahead and start doing it, and I'll try to show you what I got out of it, and maybe it'll be able to help you some. We get off here in verse 2, and right away we get a bunch of patterns. It says, I pray, I fled, and I knew. That's 4 right there. It also says that thou art a gracious God, and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repentance of evil. So that's about 5 right there, which I'm interested in. But that's kind of 4 add-ons, so I don't know what I would call that. But, you can call it whatever you want, I guess. And then in verse 3, we've got, therefore now, O Lord, take, I beseech thee, my life from me. And he's going full Elijah there, asking God to take away his life. Because, his life is so angry, it's so difficult because, what was it again, Jonah? You had to go talk to some people who you don't really care for, and try to help them that they wouldn't burn in eternal hell. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. It's pretty ridiculous. Like, he didn't say this before when he was in the whale or anything. He says it now when it's a little bit hot out. Like, that's his entire problem right now, which I think is pretty funny. But, yeah, I guess you can complain about what you want, I suppose. And then in verse 5, we've got, so Jonah went, sat, and made, and sat. There's 4 right there. And, we get the whole thing where God makes the gourd, and then he has the worm come, and then Jonah's so sick of his life because it's a little bit hot out. He's just fussing over here in the corner by the city, just watching them, just hoping that God will burn down the city. It's a pretty funny sight when you think about it. But then, it says in verse 8, fainted, wished, and said. Verse 3 right there. It says, in verse 9, I need to connect this. In verse 4, it says thou. There's 4 thous in the chapter. It says, in verse 4, God says thou to him. In verse 9, it says thou. And then in verse 10, he says thou and thou. But anyway, here we got God coming down. He says, doest thou well to be angry for the gourd? And Jonah says, I do well to be angry, even unto death. So, he's having a really difficult time in his life right now. Some people have to suffer through, permanent health problems. Some people have to lose loved ones. And, Jonah, it's a little bit hot, and, he's thirsty, and, it's just such a terrible life, But anyway, God says, you had pity on the gourd, but you don't even care about these people who are probably going to go and die and go to hell if you hadn't come and told them. Now that they're repenting, that's good, but, you didn't even really care. And so God, just kind of give them a slap on the wrist, and that's how the book ends. It's kind of a strange ending. For most books, there's, like, some closure, at least some of them, especially ones like this where it's less prophecy and more just kind of a story. But there's not much. It ends in a question. It's never really decided. It's almost as if we're supposed to answer it ourselves, and you could apply that to your life. Jonah, he made his choices, he made his mistakes, he ran from God, and God finishes the book with a question asking, should I not spare Nineveh? Should I not spare all these people? And I really think you could be asked the question to yourself: are you going to go out? Are you going to witness to people, or are you just going to sit back and act like Jonah did until he was forced? Are you just going to mess around like he was trying to? And it's a good book for self-reflection, because you really see, you can't get away from God, because wherever you go, there you are. God's everywhere. No matter, where you go, he can always see you. I mean, the earth is his footstool. I think he can locate you pretty easily if it's right there in front of him. And so it's kind of a sad book almost, but it's also, I think it could be just a good challenge to us. You got to make sure that you live your life for God. You got to make sure that you don't try to get away from him, because he's going to pull you back. But, I mean, wouldn't you prefer to be a vessel God can use, without having to yank you across the ocean in a whale? Wouldn't you rather be a vessel God could use to just pull off the shelf whenever he needs it, instead of one that's trying to, like, roll away or get away all the time, which would be a pretty ridiculous sight, some cup trying to get away from God. He's going to grab you, pick you up, and just put you on the table and use you. He's going to make you, and if you keep doing it, eventually he's just going to have to just give up on you, because he knows, well, they don't want to do it, and I'm going to give them the free will, because that's the kind of gentleman he is. So anyway, that was a pretty short chapter. It's one of the shorter ones, not the shortest, but, I mean, all the chapters are pretty short. Really, the longest one is 17 verses, but that's the end of the Jonah series. feels a little bit anticlimactic, but you know, it's only 4 chapters. It's kind of an anticlimactic book. You know, you get all these people saved, and then you know what's Jonah going to do next, and then God ends the book with a question. But I think it's a good book that we can use to learn, and it's got a lot of prophecy that gets fulfilled later on. It's used quite a bit in the New Testament. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you have a blessed night, day, whenever you're listening to this. And I should be coming out with more studies in the weeks to come. And thanks again for watching.